Okay, YouTubers, we're going to be looking at a cat house I built. This is based on a design that you can find at Alley Cat Allies website. That's alleycat.org. And I've actually modified their design. I've made my cat house slightly larger, and it has 2 doors instead of just 1 door. But in general, it's very much like their design, and I followed their plans with modifications. On my design, you can see there's 2 doors in the front. They're about 7 inches wide by 7 inches high, and it's got a slanted roof, and I've set it up on bricks. This is for our community cats here in the neighborhood, and I highly recommend Alley Cat Allies. They do a lot of good stuff. So, this cat house is set up so that the roof lifts right up and you can get inside it. If a cat has babies in it, you might need to lift that roof to get in there and help them out. But the main thing is so that we can go in and clean it out. And we're going to be putting wheat straw in it. And so, for insulation and comfort. And so occasionally we may need to get in there and clean the thing up. You can see we've used floor tiles to line the floor. And here you can see that there's 2 entrances. Each entrance has a windbreak to the side of it. And after the cat comes in through an entrance and into the back, he's got 2 areas he can lay down on top of the shelf that you see there and underneath the shelf. It's big enough probably to hold 5 full-size cats, grown cats. Of course, 2 of those 5 would be in line with the entrance. The idea here is that a cat can come in one of these entrances, get behind the windbreak for comfort, and sleep either on the shelf or under it, or on the floor here. And also, if a dog or other predator comes up and tries to stick their snout in here, they won't get very far because of the size of the opening, but also they have this windbreak here, and the cats are back in this area nice and safe. And there you can see how the roof in theory works with the hinges. And I put a little bit of weather stripping along here to create a good seal there with the roof. And you'll see there's an interior wall and an exterior wall, and there's insulation in between, as well as 2x4s that are kind of the support system for it. Now, like I said, if you go to alleycat.org, that's the Alley Cat Allies website, you'll find a section where they show you how to make all kinds of different cat shelters. This one is actually a design, an actual Alley Cat Allies design though. So the roof folds up and stands up like that, so you can work there. I'd be careful with that though if you build one, because it wouldn't take much for that roof to fall over and maybe hit you in the head. But most of the time it is quite secure, I think. And I've actually, you'll see on Alley Cat Allies website that for this design, they're talking about doing shingles, a shingle roof. The problem with that is that I would have had to put roofing nails through this 1/2-inch OSB board, and I would have had roofing nails sticking through, and I'd had to bend them over. And so instead, I decided to just go with a tar substance, roof tar, that you just paint on. And that's how I got my roof there. And here's the front. And of course, we painted everything. We set it on bricks on the ground. I'm going to close the roof. That's what it looks like with the roof on. Now, the design on Alley Cat Allies website is for a slightly smaller unit with only 1 door, and it's meant to be small enough that you can put it in a car trunk and take it where you need it. I decided to go bigger on this one and have 2 doors because we're just setting it up in our neighborhood. It's not going far from the house, and I wanted 2 doors so that there could be an exit. If a dog is at the left door, or a raccoon or what have you, bothering the cats, they can hopefully escape out the second door. Also, I thought that would make it a more comfortable situation for multiple cats that maybe don't get along so well, and they can feel welcome to, if a cat's in the left entrance, maybe the other cat will be comfortable going in the right entrance, and maybe they can get along long enough to use the shelter together. We anticipate this shelter housing 2 girl cats that already get along, but we have 4 to 5 cats that potentially could use this shelter if they don't mind living together and they can get along. That remains to be seen. We're going to figure that out. So that's basically it. Again, you can find the plans for the original one, which is slightly smaller and only has 1 door, at alleycat.org. But now this, it's not hard to extrapolate out from their plan and create something this size. You're just increasing the length and width just slightly. You're changing the dimension of the shelf inside, and you're adding 2 wind blocks instead of 1. And of course, you're cutting 2 doors. Otherwise, it's pretty close to their overall design. I did a few modifications. I was a little worried about the hinges, so I added a little extra wood as support to the hinges, and to allow the roof to, wasn't quite sure if the roof would close as well as I wanted it to. My total cost to build this was in the range of $135 worth of materials. So it's a little pricey. When I started out, I was like, oh, I can probably build a cat shelter for $50, but everything's more expensive. I'm getting old, so I'm kind of a cheap old man and think things should still be inexpensive. But the thing is, at $135, I've got plenty of material left over to partially build another one. I've got enough of the roof tarring material to probably tar another 10 cat house roofs. So when you take the extra that I have left over and you take into account what I'm not going to have to spend on the second one, and I do intend on building a second one, off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure I'm going to save about $50 off that $135 price, because I won't have to buy the roofing tar again, and I've got a good bit of both types of wood that I use for the interior walls and the exterior walls left over. And I have to buy some, well, I've got plenty of screws left over, so I won't need any screws. And I've still got paint left over, but I overbought on the paint as well. So with that in mind, the second house max will cost me $80 in materials, and I'm pretty sure it's going to come in under that once I get to working on it, especially since in my case I'm thinking about making the second house smaller and making it more in line with the original Alley Cat Allies plan. Now if you go to alleycat.org, you can find out all about Alley Cat Allies and what they do for community cats and what a wonderful organization they are. And you can download the plans and print them out for building your own house, cat house. It takes a little bit, it would help if you worked with wood before, and you're certainly going to need some saws and be able to cut OSB board or plywood, big 4x8 sheets. You're going to have to, that's what you're going to be working with. And if you're no good at painting like I am, you're going to need to find somebody who's good at painting. I built it, my wife painted everything, and we knocked it out pretty quick and fairly inexpensively. I was at a big box store earlier today, and they had a dog house that was pretty much about this size, although dimensionally a little different. And you could buy that doghouse for, well, now I've forgotten, but it was well over $100. I think it was $120, maybe $130 for that doghouse, store bought. So I built a similar size cat house for $135. So it was about the same, really. And I've got enough material left over to get started on another one. So we set it up on bricks to keep it directly off the ground. The underside of it is painted, though, to give it further weather protection. And if we were to pour a little water on that roof, you would see that it is waterproof with that tar. If that tar is applied correctly, it's good waterproofing. I don't know how long it'll last, but as long as it lasts, it'll be good waterproofing. The house is insulated and it's got a lot of room in it, particularly since I've made it a little larger and added an extra door. And a great place for these cats to winter in. I think once we fill it with wheat straw, I think they'll have a very cozy little place in there to burrow into and feel safe and warm. And we're just going to put some food out for them. I've got it set up here to show it to you on the video, but I'm actually going to move it to another location where it's a little hidden, so it doesn't attract as much of attention. That's also why we chose the colors we painted it with. We chose that kind of brown color for the sides to try and get it to blend in with some of the foliage around here, and a wall that it will be near. The roof was black because that was the only option there, but I think that'll blend in well as also. So that's it in a nutshell. I might have been a little overly verbose, but I wanted to let you guys know what it cost and what went into it. It actually took me about a week to build it on and off. I didn't keep track of the hours, but I definitely put some hours in on it. And I'm not the most experienced woodworker in the world, but I pulled it off with limited tools too. You're really going to need a circular saw to cut that plywood, and a drill to put in screws and that kind of thing. It could probably be done with a nail gun, but I wouldn't trust it. This thing is very solidly built. It's not going to fall apart anytime soon, and it's going to be a great little shelter for your community cats, your feral cats, your neighborhood strays, that kind of thing. So I hope this video was helpful to you, to show you kind of what it's like. And I'm going to let you see the roof get open one more time, if you're not sick of the video already, and just give you a quick idea what that looks like. And I'm going to, when I post this, I'm going to try and put the dimensions up below the video there, so that you can look at the dimensions and get an idea how big this is. And so that's it in a nutshell, and thanks for watching the video.